I want people to think about what's enough. In America, anyway, that is not something that we are conditioned to do. Capitalism teaches us that there's never enough. There always has to be more. We need to scale and grow endlessly. And I want to challenge people to say, what does it actually look like for me to say, I have enough?
Welcome to the GOALBUSTERS Expert Peak Productivity Tips podcast, where top business experts get just 7 minutes to answer 5 rapid-fire questions about what they do and how they stay productive.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Robin J. Emden and I'm an accountability coach and the author of Get Resultsology, The Science of Getting Stuff Done. I work with people who run their own business. No boss, distractions everywhere and never enough hours left in the day. Together we cut through the noise, sharpen their focus and follow through on the big ideas that actually move the needle. That's what I call the momentum formula. Do it today, profit tomorrow, and repeat. So, if that sounds like the kind of breakthrough that you've been looking for, then you're in exactly the right place. And speaking of being in exactly the right place, I am absolutely delighted to welcome our guest expert today, Becky Mollenkamp. Becky is a feminist business coach and author of Liberate Your Business, a book nearly 20 years in the making. Rooted in Black feminist thought, disability justice and abolitionist frameworks, Becky helps equity-minded entrepreneurs build profitable work without abandoning their politics or their humanity. Becky co-runs Feminist Founders and the Feminist Podcasters Collective. Becky, welcome to GOALBUSTERS.
Thank you for having me on. I'm super excited.
I'm super excited too. I'm really looking forward to this. There was a lot of big words in that introduction and I'm like, oh, I want to find out more about this. All right, Becky, whereabouts in the world are you?
I am in St. Louis, Missouri, in the middle of the US.
Fantastic. And I think we established in the green room earlier, you don't have any really decent sea views there, but quite a lot of river, I believe.
We do. We have plenty of Brown River to look at. Gorgeous.
Fantastic. Yes, the only brown river I like is what comes out of my coffee machine. So I think we'll move on from there and do the podcast. Shall we do the questions instead?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll get the clock up on the screen. And there it goes. Becky, could you tell us, please, who is your ideal client?
Yes, I love to work with entrepreneurs who are building businesses, have gone from the place of me to we. So they're service providers who are growing beyond being able to deliver all the services themselves, need to bring on team and support, but don't want to do that in a way that replicates the corporate environment that they left and all the toxic crap that comes with that. They want to do it in a way that's really honoring of the humans involved.
Fantastic. I like that definition as well. Yeah, I love that. I love that getting in the toxic crap there. It makes it memorable. I love that. All right, okay. So the next question is, what exactly is the problem or problems that you solve? This is an opportunity to just dive a little bit deeper.
Yeah, it's that toxic crap. It's that they have come out of an environment where they only know one form of leadership, and it is that top down, what I say goes. Doesn't matter how hard you have to work. It doesn't matter if you never sleep, you need to deliver the results I want. That sort of environment that many of us are familiar with. And they don't want to be that boss to themselves or to their team, but they're not quite sure what looks different. How do you run a business that's successful, but that doesn't do all of that, that still says, I want to treat you and myself like real humans and not just engage in the hustle and grind. So I help them figure that out and really run a business that honors their people first values, but still also honors that they have bills to pay and they have to make money.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to be a boss a long time ago and I could never square that circle, the nature of the business that I had. And it always bothered me. So I love it when there's somebody out there working proactively. There is a better way. All right. So what is one valuable free action that the audience can implement that will help them to go at least a little way towards solving this problem for themselves?
Yeah, I think it's interesting doing this interview with somebody in Europe, where I think you all may have a slightly different take on this than we do over in America, which is I want people to think about what's enough. In America, anyway, that is not something that we are conditioned to do. Capitalism teaches us that there's never enough. There always has to be more. We need to scale and grow endlessly. That is what business success looks like, is constant and continual growth. And I want to challenge people to say, what does it actually look like for me to say, I have enough? And that doesn't mean not enough, right? It doesn't have to mean too little. Sometimes, especially for Americans, that can feel very restricting. But I'm saying it's the invitation to say, how much do I really need? What is enough? Because when we can get to that place, it's often not endless growth. It is often not saying that I have to always make more year over year, or that it has to be incrementally more year over year. And once we have that, that can start to allow us to right size our expectations of ourselves so that we're not having to constantly hustle and grind in the never ending search of more. So I encourage people to start to think, enough. What's enough? Enough sleep. So not just enough money, but enough sleep, enough joy, because those are the things we're usually not getting enough of. So we're usually trying to strive so hard so we have too much money at the cost of enough joy and enough rest and enough pleasure and enough family and all of those other things. So I want people to really just take that time to ask themselves that question: what's enough in all the areas of my life?
Yes, and not just on Christmas Day when we've all had enough of the family. Yes.
Right. Make sure you're doing that at a time when you're feeling more abundant but not sick of everyone, because then you might say enough is I never want to see them again.
Yes.
And you may regret that later.
Yes, and I hear what you're saying about the cultural differences, although I think we're probably a bit more leaning towards the right as an overall in culture than perhaps you give us credit for. But also, I remember studying economics a long time ago at college, and it was all about, well, if you're not growing the business, then it's not working. And I was scratching my head thinking, well, but what if you're making enough? Why do you have to keep growing it? What's that about? But it's built into the system. It's a
That's the model.
systemic thing. It's a model
Yeah.
that is just, and that's anyway. We could, if we waffle off on that level, we'll be here for hours. I need to ask the next question, which is, now that we have a little bit better understanding of what you do, and I say a little bit, that's my fault. I only gave you 3 minutes. So let's dive briefly into goal busting, which is focusing on how to maximize productive time to achieve your business goals, or at least enough of your business goals. See what I did there? Can you share any tips or advice for someone looking to improve their productivity habits?
Well, Robin, you may not like this because I'm going to push back just a little, which is to say, I think that we get way too fixated on productivity as our measure of success. And that is what leads us to that place of overwork, exhaustion, total depletion, burnout, and then why many entrepreneurs end up failing, because they feel like they have to be constantly on, constantly proving their worth by producing. And so I would again sort of push back on that. Enough. What is enough? How much do I actually need to produce so that I can also build in rest and space and breath in my day? Because I know too many entrepreneurs who are constantly go, 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 and they don't have time to sleep. They don't have time to think. If you don't have any time to yourself, if you don't have any flexibility in your schedule to deal with an emergency or anything else because you are so concerned about productivity, I think we're trying too hard to be too productive. So I think I would say how much productivity is enough, but then on your side, and I get nervous because I see the red countdown clock, but I'm trying really hard to stay in it. On the part of actually being productive, I also would just challenge people to say, what are the tools that I'm using and do they work for me? I think too often we're adapting things that work for other people and then getting frustrated when they don't work for us. As someone who's neurodiverse myself, I have had to really work to figure out what tools work for the way my brain works to help me be able to deliver in the way I want to deliver and the amount I want to deliver. So I think do a little audit of the tools and systems you have to make sure that they actually work for how you show up.
Yeah, excellent. And the pushback is welcome and eloquently made too. And I completely take your point. Absolutely valid. What should I have asked you today, Becky, that I didn't? And your answer, please.
Well, I would love to be able to have you ask me a little more about my book. So my book is Liberate Your Business. It's out now. I self-published it because again, I like to break the rules and I don't want to go against the systems. I want to own my own IP. I want to own I bet on myself. But the book is really a guide for helping people who are saying, okay, I do want to push back against these systems that make me feel overworked and burned out and make me question my own worth and all of that. How do I actually do it? And this is that field guide for doing that.
Perfect, thank you. I just want to go back to what you were saying about the productivity thing. I actually think it's very productive to take some time out. And I mean it, I know you're talking about a different definition of productivity, just work harder, work harder, work harder. But actually having a day off, having some rest and relaxation, time with family, time with friends is a very productive thing to do in exactly the way that you describe. And then if you marry that up with what you were also saying about sometimes enough is enough. It reminds me of a mechanic tightening a bolt. Tight is tight enough. And they're right. If it's working, you don't need to keep tightening it. All right. That just leaves me now with one more question for you, which is going to be a two-parter. Part A is, I always ask it at this point, how can people get in touch with you so that they can find out more about what you do? And speaking about what you do, please do feel free to tell us more about your book, because we did cut you short on that, and I want to give it proper justice because I love books.
I love books too. And I wrote the book I always wanted. I don't necessarily love long form narrative when it's a business book. I like things that really show me what to do and make it skimmable, easy to read, easy to digest, easy to find the tips and really put things into action. And that's the kind of book I wrote. So thank you for asking. People can find out about the book and me at beckymollenkamp.com. And don't worry if you misspell it. I'm the only one, so Google finds me really easily.
And did you say also that you have an offer for our listeners and viewers with your book?
I do. I'm offering a coupon code for your listeners. You can use the code GOALBUSTERS, just one word, at checkout and get $3 off. Any of the book is available if you're in the US. You can buy it on my website and I will ship it directly to you. It'll actually come from me. But if you are anywhere else, then you can buy the digital book and get $3 off as well.
Wow, that's a generous offer. Thank you so much. And very kind of you to offer that. Becky, that has been brilliant. Only reservation I have about what you've been saying today is we ran out of time. I think we probably could have talked for hours and that would have broken the format, but it would have been a fascinating conversation. But nevertheless, it was a fascinating few moments that you gave us today. Thank you for sharing your insights, your wisdom. Thank you for appearing on GOALBUSTERS today, Becky.
Thanks for having me. I got worried and I went a little over, but I appreciate the time.
And remember, everybody, keep goal busting and make your future self proud. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to GOALBUSTERS. If you're enjoying it, please subscribe, rate and review it on your favourite podcast platform. Your support is very much appreciated. And if you're ready to boost your online profits, skyrocket your productivity, crush procrastination, and see a positive change in your bank balance, all within just 30 days, this is your opportunity. Take my free 5-day challenge at www.skyrocketyourproductivitychallenge.com.